And we are live. It is the Unapologetic Podcast, latest in current events and entertainment. We have an explosive show for you tonight. And as always, I am welcome with the actual factual Kim Smith. How are you?
Blessed, black, and highly favored. How about yourself?
I can't complain.
I
won't complain.
Amen.
You know, we have a special show, special format tonight for a very special person who I've known for a very long time. Let's see, almost 25 years.
Oh, wow.
And,
Aging.
we don't talk very often, but he's always in prayer. And I know his heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to use him as an example all the time because he is a Republican and he's black. And in today's climate, you have to, sometimes us non-Trump supporters, us non-red party people, we really have to say, hey, can we still be friends?
Oh.
Can we still communicate with people of the other party and people who support Trump? And in tonight's case, people like Trump, who they it looks like they are purposely being divisive. But and I'm not one of those people. I hear it unapologetic.
Mm-hmm.
We respect other people's opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
And we are unapologetic about ours as well.
Mm-hmm.
And once the cameras go off, we can still love, laugh, and respect one another.
Absolutely.
So that's why Ian Chappelle is still my friend. That's why some other people who are, maybe supporters as well. They may not be as outspoken about, but they are supporters as well of the Trump Foundation.
We like him too.
And I know others who are supporters as well. So that is why you say, well, how can you do it? That's how I can do it, because at the end of the day, we're all human.
Mm-hmm.
And
we all God's children.
And we all have to lead with love, and we're all Christians.
Mm-hmm.
But tonight's conversation we'll put everything kind of to the test. So that's why we welcome my friend and friend of the show, Mr. Ian Chappelle. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm fine, and thank y'all for having me.
Of course.
Ian Chappelle is live from the trash state of Georgia. I'm not going to say it any differently because he's on here, because every week we have a story from the trash state of Georgia.
Georgia and Florida.
Yeah.
Georgia and Florida.
Yeah. So we're going to get right into it. In our headlines, we said a black couple, black Republican couple.
Mm-hmm.
And Ian Chappelle, known Republican, his wife, Mrs. Chappelle, known Republican. They were outspoken on social media about the death of Charlie Kirk and how it affected them and some of the things that they didn't like that they saw on social media. So I do want to give Mr. Chappelle the opportunity to say, hey, why I vote Republican all my life, and how did the death of Charlie Kirk impact you politically?
Well, thank you for the question. I wouldn't say I voted Republican all my life, but but interesting you should say that. I have been Republican now since W. Bush. So it's been a long time, and so I can say I haven't regretted voting that way since I started. Regarding Charlie Kirk, it was really disheartening to see because he goes out on those college campuses, and if you agree with what he says or if you don't, he will engage in debate. And unfortunate that this young man totally enamored with his own thoughts had just decided that Charlie was just full of too much hate, and he took his life, unfortunately. And now he has that dear widow and two small children. So it's unfortunate that we can't sit down and have a conversation, even if we vehemently disagree. We can disagree and just walk away. Sometimes there is no middle ground, but we should be able to have the conversation. And that's one thing I like about Charlie Kirk. He went out there and he had the conversation, and he had the hard conversations. And this person just thought that he doesn't need to talk anymore. So I will say it's a blow against anybody who has a differing viewpoint and will go out in the public square and voice it. Now they open arenas, those kind of things will now be verboten. They'll be taboo because of what this young man did. So the reverberations are going to be felt on both sides.
Uh, from a human aspect,
Mm-hmm.
Kim and I both agree that for you to take someone's life is wrong.
Correct.
Okay, completely wrong. And so, as a condolences to his family,
Mm-hmm. Like we said last
like we
week.
said last week.
Mm-hmm.
But what his views on gun violence is, and to see him kind of, you know, die by the words that
He lived by.
he lived by.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that? Okay, we might have lost Ian Chappelle for a little bit.
For a second. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Charlie Kirk, who was a person who was okay with the gun laws,
Yeah.
and not having the restrictions,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and for him to be murdered like that in cold blood by was the gun illegal? Was it illegal?
No,
gun?
I think Tyler bought it. His family was I guess he had been shooting guns since he was a kid. His family like wiped their social media and things like that once the shooting happened. But no, like a gun bought legally the here in America wasn't, shipped from some, cold store. It wasn't a ghost gun or anything like that he created. It's something that he walked into the store and bought. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so as we wait for Ian Chappelle to get back live on Unapologetic Podcast here on a Wednesday night, we're talking with the Black Republican and how it has impacted his family, and just giving us a different perspective than what we are used to hearing and what we discuss on the show. And as we said, Ian, go ahead.
Yeah. And the thing is, I want to make sure, as Ian comes back, we, preference the fact that we definitely sent condolences last week when we originally aired and came back for season 15. And that this is not, something that we are just now talking about because of the traction that's in the media. Like, we definitely sent our condolences then.
Yeah. So, Ian, you back with us?
Yes, I'm sorry about that. I had some technical difficulty there.
No problem. Nobody in this life is perfect. Not even Wi-Fi. Well, back to Charlie Kirk. The question was, and I'm surprised I remembered it, the guns. He was outspoken about not having a lot of gun restrictions, and he actually kind of died by his words. What are your thoughts on that? And I know that Georgia, the southern states are, they're real big on having their guns and not having all the restrictions.
2A all day.
Hey, as I took my son to, must have been Academy, and we went back there to the gun case, and surprisingly, not a single gun jumped out and did anything at us.
Mhm.
So I am definitely persuaded, and in lieu of what happened to Charlie Kirk, that again, it if the young man didn't have a gun and he wanted to and he wanted to kill Charlie Kirk, he would have found another way. When there's vehicular manslaughter, we don't ban cars.
Mhm.
When there are knife murders, you don't see a a a dearth of knives. You don't see them taken off the shelf.
Mhm.
So now, and this young man, I think when I came in, I heard Kim talking about the gun, and it was a World War II gun, I believe. It was his grandfather's gun,
Mhm.
and so it wasn't anything. I don't even think it had a serial number.
Mhm.
If I'm following that correctly, so that's what you coming from a hunter family, and they were conservative.
Mhm.
He became very liberal and exercised. It's in especially since he had a trans boyfriend. So that right there definitely exercised him because Charlie Kirk was a big proponent. He was an opponent against the LGBT Q community.
Mhm.
So I Charlie Kirk was a big uh, Second Amendment advocate, and I really don't see much correlation that just because he was killed with a gun, that somehow if you had put more restrictions on it, that's a World War II gun that was held in the family, so that wouldn't have stopped this. He didn't go to Academy and buy it.
Well, I mean, but like to be realistic, that gun might have been something that was a family heirloom, but the family itself were gun people. Like if he wouldn't have got his grandfather's gun, he could have got any gun in the house. The father was also in law enforcement. So this particular gun might not have been bought, but that was something that he was used to. And I don't think that, don't get me wrong, like 2A all day to a certain extent, but to insinuate that if he couldn't have used this particular gun, that he couldn't have just walked in his father's office and got another one. Like I think we just have to make sure that we are honest about that.
Well, I don't know if I would even go that far to make that correlation because again, being raised here in the marvelous state of Georgia, I have to correct the record. When we lived in the country, my aunt married a man, Uncle Riley Wilson, and he had a shed the size of Anthony's old apartment full of guns.
Mhm.
Uncle Riley had a gun for every day of the year.
Mhm.
Now, we as children, of course, were told not to, we knew not to play around with that was Uncle Riley's shed, and we didn't go in there and, in risk of being beaten half to death. But guns we have had since guns have been created. It's a change in demeanor, it's a change in attitude, and it is a wickedness, I'll say, in the heart to where you disagree with somebody, so eventually I'm going to put you down.
Agreed.
And I that's really really have a bone to pick with that. That look, if you disagree with his ideas, attack his ideas. Absolutely, attack the ideas. But when it starts turning into these ad hominem, I'm going to attack the person, and then I'm going not just verbally, but now physically. That's where I don't care if your house is built of guns,
Mm-hmm.
and you could just pull one off the wall. I, it, it's the ideology is really what's so dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get to this is month 9, so we're at about month 8 of Trump's presidency. But before we get there, I want to talk to you about Charlie Kirk, the racist. He has been known to say some very racist things about Black people. One of the quotes that they like to refer to is about the Black pilot. A a Black pilot. He hopes that he's qualified. Happening all blacks go around for fun, go target white people. I'm dealing with someone in customer service who's a moronic black woman. If we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama, Sheila Jackson Lee, and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called racist. You do not have the brain processing power otherwise to be taken seriously. You, as a black man who was married to a black woman, who we hear a black child in the background with the black daughter. How does that make you feel for this man to say that? But you are definitely still giving your support to him and the Republican Party.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think we need to take each of those in turn because much of Charlie Kirk's of those statements, and they sound extremely provocative when taken out of context. So the first one, and I'm sorry because I know you read several. Huh? About the pilot. Yes, thank you, thank you. I saw that one because that one was on his show, and he started with because of these DEI laws that were really coming into effect. Because he had a longer conversation initially, and he did preface in there that that's not needed. That there are qualified people, black people of color, who can get the jobs. And when he sees a black pilot, he wonders if he was a DEI hire. Because lest we forget, we know that Kamala Harris was a DEI hire because Joe Biden said it was. He was going to have a black woman.
Let's get serious. Let's get serious.
I mean,
You don't need to go with DEI to get the vice president of the United States, Ian Chappelle. Let's get serious.
I mean, he said it. I didn't say it.
Educated black woman that was, I mean, an attorney before she was anything. I mean, I think the salacious part of him having to draw in the audience, I get it, right? Like if you know Charlie Kirk's history, meaning that he was plucked out of, high school because a 72-year-old white man saw how he engaged the crowd, and he was plucked when the Hope movement was going on, right? So Obama was making way too much traction, and this particular party felt like that they needed to galvanize the college base, and Charlie Kirk was able to do that. And if you go back from Charlie Kirk's older work, where he was just speaking values and him being conservative, I don't think anybody would have had an issue with that. I think the tide turned when they realized that it wasn't money in what he was doing and saying. And so then he had to amp it up. So me personally, my personal issue is that are you putting on a show? Like, are you being a character of yourself? Because if this is how you've always felt, then we would have known about Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk started out in 2012, but Charlie Kirk didn't blow up until COVID, until he started saying these outlandish, salacious things. And as far as the DEI thing, people are making like DEI is a new thing. DEI has been around since the 1960s. Right. So if we want to speak on DEI and him saying this, in particular, because like he was so worried about it, why wasn't that part of his conversation when he originally hit the airwaves in like 2012?
Well, let's go back to 2012. DEI, though has been around since the 60s, with civil rights and all that, it really came to the fore during the Obama administration, because to your point, there's been affirmative action for decades now. So that has been around, and now what Charlie Kirk was, if he was saying on it, what he was saying about it, I'm not sure. I know I remember back in 2012 and going on, I remember seeing him on Fox News and other places. So he was gaining traction. And when you go on those shows, you speak about the topic that's assigned. And he would be on Cavuto and different shows, O'Reilly, Hannity, shows of that nature. But DEI really, and it really took off under the Biden administration, where we saw even more of it. So he then took umbrage against it then and made it front and center, which some of his critiques of it, I have no complaint against,
Mm-hmm.
because reverse, especially with the universities, for example, reverse discrimination is still that. It's still that, and if you go back before the '60s into the '50s and the '40s,
Mm-hmm.
when our people were leaving the South and moving north, my mother's parents did it, left Mississippi, moved to Chicago. That's how I met Mr. Goodwin. His people did it. Kim, your people probably did it too. All of our folks did it. We were breaking barriers long before the civil rights movement came along.
Mm-hmm.
We were buying homes. Our illiteracy rate dropped. I mean, precipitously. We were an incredible groundswell of innovators and judges and scientists and lawyers and anything you can think of. We were doing it in the '40s and the '50s, and then the '60s came along, and then we got some legal traction, and then the '70s, and things, they just kind of went downhill from there. But he brought to the fore a lot of issues with DEI, and his observation of the black pilot, we'll go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
It it is it a caricature of what DEI is? Possibly. I
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily look at a black pilot and wonder if he's a DEI. I hope he's not. But you do remember, which one was it? Was it United or was it American that said that they had a goal of hiring so many black pilots?
But it
And
seems like the white ones are the one that's getting dragged off the plane drunk. But I mean, I understand.
I don't remember which airline that was, but
Mm-hmm.
I find that problematic. I don't care who's flying the plane. I want a qualified person to fly the plane. If he
Agreed.
have, if he's black, he's black. I mean, fine. If she's black, fine. But I don't need you to push to get a certain quota. I don't care about that. I just want to land when I get on it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Doesn't make
now,
you feel a type of way that,
huh?
that he would say that. It doesn't make you feel any type of way that he would, purposely target black pilots.
No,
Okay.
no, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Because it does irritate me to know that a company is trying to get so many black pilots when I just want qualified pilots.
Mm-hmm.
So that is more irksome to me.
Okay. I guess my next question is like, in your opinion, do you think the only people that have profited from DEI are black people?
Um, I don't know. I don't know if we're the only ones. I know that we are profiting from it because Asians aren't.
We're not anymore. We're not profiting from it anymore.
But I mean, the studies and statistics say that we're actually the lowest on the totem pole when it comes to DEI. But I think it was easier to use us as the face, right? Because it made more sense because it came from the civil rights movement. It was something Lyndon and them like told us like, oh, we're doing this to profit from you all. But most universities, most jobs, things like that, if you look at the latest research over the last 15 to 20 years, black people profit from it less. So I guess that goes back to me asking about his caricature. Like, he was supposed to be this like progressive, like you said, like a lot of the times people are speaking on him because of the clips. But if he was speaking on Hannity and Bill O'Reilly and things like that, he knew that black people were the less, we were the one benefited from this the least. So why do you think he used us like to push the DEI message forward?
Well, I mean, if what you say is true and we become the face of it, then you would use the face. I mean, you're not going to use any other group. And to your point, I think you're right, because I know a lot of the LGBT, they benefit from it, and women benefit. White liberal women benefit from it.
When they did the study, I'm not pushing an agenda or of course I love everybody, but that is exactly it. 60% in the study was white women.
Oh, No doubt about it.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that at all. I don't doubt that at all. Now, I do wonder what the percentage of, let's say, white men are, or Indian men,
Hmm.
or Asian men. I mean, because the Indians and from the subcontinent and of Asia, and Asians have out surpassed whites. So
Hmm.
they are a minority. Are they benefiting from it?
They
Are
are.
Africans benefiting from it? I
Hmm.
mean, more than us as African Americans.
Yes.
I find it interesting. 'Cause I know at the university they weren't, because the Asians were suing, because they were suing affirmative action, because they get better scores than whites on the ACT and SAT, and they're being overlooked. So, but that's fascinating.
Hmm.
Uh, Ian Chappelle, we love the Black family around here. We have the Black Love Show coming up October 8th with some
Hmm.
very special guests. And you, like myself, have Black wife, Black children. And
Hmm.
uh, Mr. Kirk uh, promotes traditional gender roles, telling women to go to college for the purpose of finding husbands and embrace their roles as mothers and homemakers. Having children is more important than a good career. Birth controls screws up their brains, and so forth and so on. Do you agree with this? Your wife, like I said, was outspoken. I love Sarita. You all are so nice to me when I come down to Atlanta. We usually go over to Harold's and have some lunch. And next time I come down, I definitely would love some of your tea. Uh, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I don't disagree with that at all. And now my wife does work outside the home, because if she didn't, we'd be homeless. So I love a second income. I thank her when she goes out. I said, I appreciate you, but I think about my great grandmother. She didn't, and she raised seven. Well, my great grandfather. I mean, they raised seven children. So I think a return back to traditional roles, a return back to marriage, children after marriage, and not vice versa, along with having traditional huh?
Go ahead.
And having traditional roles. I'm not saying that she needs to be barefoot and pregnant, but having traditional roles, that a man, he does need to bring his check home. I mean, he doesn't have to make more than her, but you need to bring your check. But you need to bring your money home. You need to be responsible. You need to claim account. And he was terrific at that, at giving young men purpose. Because the purpose is not just to listen to this trashy music and go out here and breed and live and have all this antisocial behavior. But if you're gonna go to college, go to college. If not, get a job. Get one woman, marry her, have your children, buy a home. You can do all that, and championing that, especially for blacks, because our grandparents did that. Now, maybe some of our grandmothers worked, mine did, but she got married in 1953, and then her kids came from 1954 on. And all her siblings did the same thing. My grandfather's siblings did the same thing. Their first cousins did the same thing. We had those values, and that was a universal value here in this country. I know during that time in the 40s and the 50s, 30s, and going back. So if we return to that, we would be the benefactors for it.
Okay. Another quote from Charlie Kirk. If you are a WNBA pot smoking black lesbian, do you get treated better than the United States Marine? He also goes to make statements about the LGBTQ plus community and trans people. Said that transgender women in locker rooms should be taken care of the way they used to take care of things in the 50s and 60s. He called for a nationwide ban on gender affirming care. And he says, hey, you might want to crack that Bible of yours open. Leviticus 18, thou shalt not lay with another man, shall be stoned to death. So in today's United States, we call it fluid. We call it, be who you want to be happy. And yes, under Obama and under Biden, these health care for transgender and things like that were pushed.
Mhm.
But I don't think that it is right to, stone people. I don't think that it's right to condemn people to hell. You don't have that type of judgmental power. So when you hear things like this, and we all have young children growing up in a world where hey, you're in Atlanta, you got it worse than we got it up here. So
Yes, Lord.
how can you defend such hate and divisiveness? That's exactly what it is. Now the Bible is what it is, but the rest of it, to be stoned, to be not given the same human rights because you're not a Marine, that's kind of outlandish, don't you think, Mr. Chappelle?
Well, well, of course, I have to start with the verse in Leviticus, which is the law of God. So we're going to let God's word stand where it is, and I don't think that Charlie Kirk was advocating stoning anyone just because he read the entire text. But to be clear, I mean, the LGBT community, we were sold a bill of goods because initially under Obama, when gay marriage was passed, it was sold to us as love is love. What people do in their old bedrooms doesn't matter. It's none of your business, and let's just go along to get along. As we can see now in 2025, that was not the case at all. They are bullying their way into everything. We see it in cartoons, commercials. It's everywhere. And you talk about the Atlanta area, you can't go anywhere in Atlanta without seeing some form of that. I remember before Daddy died, I was taking him to radiation, and we were leaving Midtown Atlanta, going back to the South Side of Atlanta, and I knew, and it that really aggravated him. And he was born in 1940, so he came in a different time. And we went through downtown, and there was a gentleman in some kind of heels, and he walked across the street battering any woman, and Daddy was just livid. He said, I remember this when this was a reputable town, and he went to Atlanta in 1955 where they were serving blacks at the back door. And he said, I'll take that over what I'm seeing today. Just a little historical context. So, but what Charlie Kirk was touting is that gay marriage is the law of the land, unfortunately. I will say that I don't think that should have been. That aside, if that's how you want to live, then you live that way. But where my bone of contention is now, you want to tell my son that it's normal when you're not leaving that to me, his father, to teach him what's normal and what isn't. I have a huge problem with that. I have a huge problem with a man that's going to tell me that he's a woman. And you see on some of these shows, straight men are called transphobes and all these other insults because they don't want a man who thinks he's a woman. That's ridiculous. And let's be frank, you can't change your sex. I don't care, or your gender, if you want, as you want to say. I don't care what you cut off or what you attempt to grow. No amount of facial hair. For Kim, the young lady, she could grow a beard. She can't get prostate cancer. She cannot. Anthony, I don't care what you hack off. You can't get pregnant. You'll never grow a uterus,
That's
ever.
true. That's true.
Ever. And so we need to stop pretending. Now, can we be respectful?
Yeah.
I have no. Now, I'm not going to use your preferred pronouns, but I'll use your name.
Mhm.
If Kim said, "Hey, I want to be called Chad," I will call Kim Chad. I mean, because that's a name. Now, I'm
Yeah.
not going to use your pronouns. You say, "Are you going to call me he?" No, I ain't going to call you nothing.
Mhm.
I'm going to call you something else. You keep pressing me, but because I think we have to have respect. If I don't want to call you by your preferred pronoun, then you should respect that as well. Why do my rights have to be subservient to yours to indulge you in your fantasy? And Charlie Kirk was good about bringing that out, and I definitely applauded that about him. There were some things that he said that I think were kind of distasteful. But that right there, when he started attacking the trans community, I will donate every penny I have because that needs to be dismantled.
Yeah, I think as parents, I think you all have the right to decide when you would like to introduce your children into anything beyond your household. I totally agree with you there. I'm not a mother, but I have nieces and nephews. You know, my sister is no longer with us, so I'm very active in her children's lives. And again, you know, I believe in fluidity. I believe, you know, if any of my nieces and nephews came to me and told me they wanted to be something, do something, I'm here for it. But also, like you said, household wise. Now, as far as what other people do in their bedroom and things like that, I think that's where it should have stayed. I don't think that parents should have to worry about turning on the Disney Channel and having to turn something off because of something that popped up or anything like that. I think collectively we all agree with that. But I do think that there's a way to speak about it, and I think that you hit the nail on the head when you said that you can't force people into things. You know, I know people might think this is like jumping off the bridge with it, but I kind of feel very odd at how people are trying to make people grieve Charlie Kirk in a way that they feel like that is suitable, right? So over the last week and a half, people have been going into Starbucks and ordering a drink, I guess, that to memorialize Charlie Kirk. And everybody has been into Starbucks before. And when you go up, they ask you your first name, and that's what they put on the cup. People have been getting baristas fired. These are children, 19 to 25, things like that, because they are not grieving the same way that they feel like that Charlie Kirk should be grieved. And I feel like in the context of the LGBTQ plus community, like you can't get mad at me if I don't feel the same way as you do. I personally feel like with his rhetoric with the LGBTQ plus community, this is another one where going back, looking at some of his older things compared to like where he was like in the last 3 years had kind of also changed. Now, like you said, it could be him moving with the times. It could be from, you know, from the Obama to the Biden, you know, it's been drastically different. But again, it's just really hard for me to get behind because like I don't know which Charlie Kirk to believe in.
Well, I think that over time that he has evolved,
Mhm.
you know, and as all politicians, you know, now it might shock you. I am not one of these that says that he died for his faith. I'm not because this was politically motivated.
Mhm.
Now, his rhetoric as far as the um, transgenderism may have been grounded in Christianity with
Mhm.
his opposition against it, but but this was a political assassination. So I'm not buying the argument that he's some kind of Christian martyr because there were Christian martyrs. And
Mhm.
being a Christian, we could talk about the apostles. We can talk about people in church history. Justin Martyr. We can Joan of Arc, William Tyndale. We could talk about people in history who have died literally for the faith. John Huss. They were burned alive. They were sawn in half. They were beheaded. You know, those people died because for the name of Christ.
Mhm.
And now, because now Charlie Kirk was not an evangelist of the gospel, at least that was not his primary motive. You know, he went out there in a Bible and a suit, get giving an altar call. He may have been in a suit, but he didn't hold the Bible. I'm not saying he didn't believe in it, but and I see that narrative being pushed, and I don't care for that because it was political. So to your point, if you don't want to grieve Charlie Kirk because you disagree with his politics, you definitely don't have to. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's not inappropriate.
I think for whatever reason, people are genuinely upset that people are not like falling out in the floor crying because Charlie Kirk passed. And like if we're talking about political assassinations, we as Black people know exactly what that looked like. You know,
Sure.
that's been
Yeah.
happening to us for years. So I don't understand this outrage that people are having that's saying you're not grieving correctly. I do have a quick question. I don't know if you're a have dealt, been in the military or anything like that at all, but how did you feel about them lowering the flags to half staff when he was assassinated?
Um, I didn't agree with that because he's not a politician. He's not someone who serves this country in that capacity.
Okay.
Now, again, I agreed with probably most of his rhetoric because I'm of that persuasion.
Mhm.
But I don't think that they should have been lowered at half staff. No,
Okay.
no. It will surprise you, Mr. Goodwin. I don't agree with everything Trump does, though I vote for him again.
Well, you might get a chance in 2028.
Yeah, hey, I might. If he get around the Constitution.
Well, let's hope his health holds up. So we're going to move over into that realm as you see a picture of Donald Trump holding tight the wife of Charlie Kirk as he eulogized
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Charlie Kirk, who is just, just at the end of the day, he's a YouTuber, he's an influencer, he is, of no political anything. And Donald Trump made his way to the service and to hold Charlie Kirk's wife. And he's a fine man, fine man. So, Ian Chappelle, it is now January 20th was the day. Trump has done so many things to divide these United States and piss off the world with just nasty words and being completely disrespectful to world leaders, whether he's on their turf or here in the United States of America, has gone out of his way to rename military bases and gone out of his way with executive orders to just really try his best to erase slavery and any black history that might feel that make a white person feel sad. They shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to feel bad in the classrooms. Demonetizing historically black colleges and states when they refuse to obey,
bend the knee
to his orders. And
we watch Game of Thrones. So I'm just saying, bend the knee.
We are only in month 8, and I think you get my point. Trump presidency. What do you think about the job that he has done so far? As you say that you would vote for him again.
Oh yeah, well, overall, I'm very pleased, especially internationally. I love that he's pissing everybody off because everybody has been pissing on us globally. I mean, with the exception of Africa, they get pissed on by everybody. But as far as Europe, I have no problem with him stepping on Europe's neck. By all means, put the boot there. They've been absolutely useless. Now they're finally coming around to doing anything about Ukraine, which is very interesting because it's happening there while so many of them still continue to buy Russian oil, and Russia's who's doing it. I mean, and you even saw when he went to the UN before. I forgot what the name of the UN, the general guy is, but he even praised Trump for bringing Germany and France and all of them to the table to up the spending because they weren't doing anything. So I have no problem with him, slapping Europe around. Where I do have a bone to pick with Trump are all of these executive orders. I despised it when Obama did it. When he said he had a pen and a phone, I wanted him voted out then. Because that is not how this country is set up. It's not set up to where you're going to run it like you run a business or run it like you run a dictatorship. And Republicans, and this is the hypocrisy of my party, we jumped on Obama when he said that. I have a pen and a phone, which I look, they should have tarred and feathered him then, and I would have bought the tar. Okay, I thought that was horrible then, and now Trump is coming, and he's doing the same thing. And one thing I especially hate are the tariffs. I have no problem with you using the tariffs to bring other countries down, because Canada was getting over. A lot of countries were getting over. So bringing them to the table, I was fine with that. I thought that was great. But you're not beating up China the way you should with the tariffs. Why? Why do we have this disparity, and we're hitting Madagascar with the same amount that we're hitting China with? I said it's absolutely asinine. I mean, Madagascar, the economy is this big. We buy T-shirts from them. I think one of these T-shirts I have on was made in Madagascar. I mean, they don't have an economy. So I don't like when he instituted the tariffs and he slapped everybody in the face with the same tariff. Not everybody needs to be hit with the same tariff. There has to be some nuance placed. I had no problem with you tariffing Russia because you need to hit them. Now he's kind of moving to try to hit Putin, but he should have been doing this. And he's not hitting the Chinese hard enough. But then you hit um, Brazil. Yes, they're a large economy, but we need to cozy up with Brazil. You're pissing off the Canadians. I don't like the Canadians either. I think they're also relatively useless. However, we need to buddy up with them to get the rare earth minerals. So because China said, "Oh, well, we're not gonna send them to you." Well, guess what? The Canadians have it. Let's make a deal with them. You all for making deals? Let's make a deal. So that has really been really irritating to me. I like Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary. I think that he keeps the markets calm because he gives reasonable explanations. That's why the stock market has been steady and my 401k is still doing well. But if Trump he needs to listen to Scott Bessent more and really get some nuance and just stop. I'm doing executive order, executive order, executive order. No, pass it. We have the House and the Senate barely, but we have it. Pass it. Pass it through the legislature as it's designed to do. So that right there, I'm not crazy. I'm not so crazy about. As far as HBCUs, I don't know if that now is that regarding the states who are sanctuary that have sanctuary cities in them, and he's taking the funding from.
No.
So why is he defunding some of these HBCUs when he said that he was going to fund them?
It's predominantly black.
No, that's not the reason. There has to be something else.
Oh, it does? Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I, I'm not buying. And as far as the slavery thing goes, well, I don't think that that's necessarily the motive. Because didn't they say he tried removing a bust of something, and then that turned out to be a lie? It was the bust of King or a bust of some black leader, and then coming out that that wasn't the truth.
On record saying that like he wants to take that type of like that slavery and all that because he's on record saying like white people shouldn't feel bad, like their kids shouldn't go to school and feel a certain type of way because the teacher is talking about slavery. So that's not anything like that. You can literally pull a clip of him saying like that's why he was doing. I mean, that's why he started targeting museums. He said that's why people were saying like you need to go visit the Smithsonian and all of that now because he wants to take all that type of stuff out of museums. Like I don't know why he wants to rewrite history. Maybe he thinks if he pulls it out of schools and pulls it out of museums in maybe another 100 years that people won't know slavery existed. I don't know. Maybe their thought.
Well, I seriously doubt that. I heard something about that,
Mm-hmm.
but I went on and dismissed it as fake news because first of all, you can't get rid of it. You can't erase it. We have statues erected over this country, good or bad, to proponents of slavery, which I'm all for those statues remaining up because, huh?
He's removed statues as well.
But he hasn't taken them all down.
Oh, well, we only in month 8.
There are too many of them, and
Oh,
then and then there are state laws. Like for example, here in Stone Mountain, they have the Confederate generals still on Stone Mountain. I want them to be up there. They don't bother me. Jefferson, Lee, and Stonewall Jackson, and them. Why? I don't see the purpose of removing them. We need to know who they are.
okay. We're going to get you out of here on this, Ian Chappelle. But first and foremost, this is the Unapologetic Podcast, live and unedited and unscripted on all podcasts and social media platforms. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us and share. And if you want to be a guest, reach out. We're live from the trash state of Georgia with a friend of mine and a friend of the show, Ian Chappelle, and we always thank him for his time.
I do
Ian
have
Chappelle.
one more.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I know that like a lot of people will say, you know, like we should be worried about other things, but you as a father, a person that you know has a wife and children, how do you feel about the Epstein files? Do you think it's weird that he is pushing so hard for them not to be provided? And do you think it's odd that he actually ran his campaign on exposing the Epstein files, but then learning that he was in them in May and now it's a hoax?
And also, do you think that Charlie Kirk was killed because he was starting to openly ask for the Epstein files to be revealed?
The Epstein files are, I wouldn't say that the Epstein files are a hoax. Now he did campaign on that, so he's gonna that's gonna be something he's gonna pay for, because he did say he was gonna open them and release them, and he didn't. I'm not persuaded that he's necessarily in them, because the Epstein files were there under Biden, and you know that the Democrats have looked in those files, and if Trump was in there, it would have killed the last election with him with Harris. It would have decimated him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't think that he has much to worry about in those files. But what I do think is that there are names in that file that I don't think those are issues that he wants to deal with. High-ranking people that if they don't have ties to him, they have ties to other people, Republican and Democrat. I mean, you know, we know that Clinton lived on the plane, and I don't, and that kind of, you're talking about a sex trafficking ring, and now all this. I just don't think that he honestly that he wants to be bothered with it, but I think he should have just kept his mouth closed like Biden did.
Okay.
And do you think that MAGA killed Charlie Kirk because of the Epstein files?
No. I don't think the MAGA killed Charlie Kirk. MAGA, if it wasn't for Charlie Kirk, MAGA wouldn't have gotten so much of the young vote. Turning Point did an amazing job on college campuses, getting the young vote for Trump.
Would you
So.
consider yourself MAGA?
Huh?
Would you consider yourself to be MAGA?
Not necessarily, because I'm a conservative first, and MAGA isn't all conservative. Just like what I was saying about the tariffs. I like things to be done a certain way. And how our country set up the process with the executive, the legislature, and the Supreme Court. I look to follow those paths, and writing executive orders, not throw a shot. That's something the Democrats do when they can't get their way. They want to write a law, and then we gotta litigate it. No, that's ridiculous. You had a trifecta, pass the stuff.
Yeah.
And you can't get it done. Mike Johnson, God bless him, is working 24 hours a day, because I think a lot of the stuff isn't what you campaigned on.
Well,
And it's
campaigned on.
huh?
It's not what he campaigned on.
It's not what he campaigned on, and it's not as sweet as he thought.
Right.
Now, of course, I would say it's much better under Kamala Harris, because I just wouldn't dread that. But it's not as sweet as you thought it would be. And you can't get it passed because it doesn't meet certain earmarks. That there are real conservatives in the Senate and in the House that always vote no for Trump's policies.
Yeah.
Some of them. So I think he really needs to go back and look at it and get it passed the right way. So a lot of my viewpoints do fall within MAGA, but no, I wouldn't consider myself that.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that you are not a paid subscriber to. When people think Republicans today when people think Trump, and I had not heard of Charlie Kirk until Charlie Kirk was shot in the shoulder live
In the neck.
in the
In
neck.
the neck.
Well,
Mhm.
whatever. He did. I didn't know about him until he died.
Mm, mm, mm.
I would like for you to say why, how you feel proud of being a black man and of black people. Because if you're listening, you have probably, gathered the opinion that Ian Chappelle and others who have joined the show don't like black people. And that means that Ian Chappelle don't like himself. So I would like to extend you that grace to tell us how proud you are of being a black man and a black father and a black husband with a black family, beautiful black family that I love dearly.
Oh, listen at you. It takes the black Democrat to have to help the black Republican up to explain how proud and black he is. Ain't that black of you? Listen, look up there. Well, you know, historically, and you know this, Anthony, you know, and Kim probably knows as well, black folks were Republican.
We
We
were.
were Republican. We were Republican, and we were Republican up until civil rights,
Mhm.
because you know, even if you think about right after the war, right after Truman got out, we got in Eisenhower, and he who was a Republican and was a war hero, and most blacks, I think, it was like 60 some % of blacks voted for Eisenhower. You know, uh, as the tale goes, and I don't know how true this is, but I've heard it a few times, that it wasn't until King was put in jail and they called, was it Nixon or somebody, and asked him to get him out of Republican. The Republican said, "No, I don't want to dabble in that."
Mhm.
And but Kennedy was able to get it done,
Mhm.
and from then on, there was the switch. So, being, because you know James Brown was a Republican, you know, get on the good foot. He
Mhm.
was there. So
Well, y'all
it
behind
Oh, don't do James Brown.
right. Don't do that now. We'll stop the show. We ain't
that.
gonna do that, to James Brown now. We ain't gonna do that to the icon. But you know, and so being a black Republican is just, it in some ways it's returning, because the Democrats ain't always been good to us, and I think even today they're not good to us through welfare and so many other things. But that aside, being black, we in this people, we as a people in this country, excuse me, have done an astonishing thing since 1866. Since, you know, Juneteenth and the last of us were told we were free in Texas. What we did in this country under Jim Crow is just astonishing. We, and you know this, Anthony, and I'm sure Kim does as well. You know, the Klan was formed because we were buying up land in the South. They were doing that just to terrorize us.
Mhm.
And somebody asked, well, how were we buying land when we couldn't read, but we had a skill set? That, of course, they had to hire us, because, you know, you don't have enough people to do it. And uh, we're now squatters.
Yeah. And you want
So,
to make money.
right. Well, we wanted money, first of all, because we didn't have anywhere to stay for, well, I would say for free, even though we were working, it wasn't free, but you understand what I'm saying? We weren't paying to stay anywhere. And most whites didn't have slaves. But if you got 200 acres of land, you don't want all these people on your land now. I mean, because you're not making money to pay for these people and to furnish these people. So we started getting jobs everywhere. And that was starting during Reconstruction. This was before Ford created the first vehicle in the 1920s. And then we started hightailing it out of the South and going everywhere. We blew Chicago up in a decade.
Hmm.
Yeah, we are the original migrants.
Hmm.
This whole talk of migrants, they're not. No, no. When you're here legally, you're not a migrant. You're here illegally. We are the original migrants, and we were brought here against our will, and now we migrated within the country, and we went to Chicago, Detroit, and New York, and Boston, and L.A., and we went everywhere, and we We thrived in an economy that absolutely hated us. We weren't welcomed in the North. That's where all the redlining was. You didn't have to redline in the South. We all lived around each other. The whites were too poor to move, and we couldn't move either.
Mhm.
So we kind of dealt with each other. Sometimes there was common things that would divide the neighborhoods, but generally we lived close to one another. So it was up in those cities where you had the redlining and so on. But think about it. They redlined us because we had so much capital and good credit where the banks couldn't deny all of us homes because we had good credit and we had some capital. So yeah, they sold us houses. Now they sold it, and now did they depreciate them? Sure, all of that happened. But look at how we were just kicking down barriers. Look at how our people left the South, and they didn't know what the North had for them. They just knew there was jobs up there. They didn't have Facebook where they could apply for a job in Mississippi and get it in Chicago. No, they went up there on faith, hope, and a prayer that they were gonna get something, staying with relatives, and then married, and then got their own homes or whatever. That's remarkable. That is remarkable. With little education, sorry, charging my phone in fail. With very little education and no real idea of what to expect besides bad weather. That's why y'all still live in trashy Illinois. Terrible weather. So am I proud of that? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, we're glad to hear that.
And which is one reason why I'm against DEI, because we have within us, if we would get back to the core, which we've gotten so far away from, get back to, dare I say, a black man that marries a black woman and has black children, and we get back to that, we would be unstoppable.
Mhm. Mhm.
Unstoppable.
Here's the deal. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you kindly uh, for joining us tonight and being unapologetic and being opinionated. And hey, just really saying how you feel. And I'm glad to wrap it up that, we know that you are a proud American, red American, but we also are proud that you are a black American man that is proud of his heritage and who you are today. So, as always, thank you for joining the Unapologetic Podcast. And I will be back in contact to get you back. And maybe I'll even be in Georgia one day soon.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Kim, and Anthony. You don't have to grace us with your presence. We're fine down here. We are. Save your money. Save your money.
What we're saying? Please don't come.
Right. We're good down here in Trash, Georgia. Thank you.
Ian Chappelle, thank you. Love you, brother. We'll talk real soon.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
Ian Chappelle, everyone.
I know that's right.
Thank you so much. Let yourself out the studio. We're live on StreamYard on YouTube and on Facebook and Instagram. Wow, last time we were here, Jimmy Kimmel was out, and now Jimmy Kimmel is back. The actual and factual Kim Smith. Let us know what happened.
Yeah, so they pulled Jimmy Kimmel off the air. They said that he was done for. Trump put up a whole post about it. They fired him. He was talentless and all of that. And then Disney lost $3.6 billion. That'll do it. That will do it. And they brought Jimmy ass clean right on back last night. And you know what? It was absolutely hilarious. I stayed up. I usually do not stay up that long. I'm old. And his monologue was amazing. Mm-hmm. I loved it. People thought that he was going to get on there apologizing to Trump and all of that. And he did the complete opposite. Okay. Yeah. He ran that motherfucker for about a good 26 minutes. Now, which he had already done. He said that he sent condolences to Charlie Kirk's family. He said how, heartbroken he was for his wife and children, which he had already did prior. But don't forget, they made this a political issue because he was dogging out Trump about how Trump was grieving Charlie Kirk. Mm-hmm. But yeah, shout out to Jimmy Kimmel. I'm pretty sure his ratings last night were,
through the roof.
Through the roof.
Yeah.
Even with the affiliates that didn't bring him back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you know Jimmy Kimmel, who is a great comedian, he's a great host. I don't watch the show because I'm probably watching Sports Center or something like that.
Of course.
But my mother does watch Jimmy Kimmel every night.
Okay.
And I knew he wasn't going to be apologetic. I knew that if he was going to be back, he was going to make sure that he was going to be able to be himself.
Yes.
Jimmy Kimmel has enough money and enough followers to go join any other network, his own stuff. And he's actually a great and funny comedian.
Yeah.
I love to hear him when he roasts other people.
Oh, it's so good.
He's very good. So congratulations and welcome back, Jimmy Kimmel.
Right. Yeah. And shout out to Robert De Niro that jumped on. He was the FCC. Let me tell you something. You do not So one thing that was absolutely hilarious, he goes into his pocket and says, ABC made me read one thing, and he pulled it out and he was like, to reactivate your Hulu and Disney, please click he hit every single point. It was great. Shout out to Jimmy. My body ain't making me stay up that late 2 days in a row, so y'all keep on the good fight.
Welcome back, Jimmy Kimmel. Cardi B remaining in the news, pregnant and all, but she makes history as the fastest album ever to be certified platinum.
Yeah.
With I Am the Drama. So shout out to Cardi B.
Yes.
For I just can't. She said she was going to be a star.
She did. And I didn't even watch her back then.
Yeah, I
did not even watch her back then.
Look at the mess and everything.
No, I heard she had cricket teeth. Gotta be like, I didn't know Cardi until she was Cardi.
She looked a mess and she was on there with DJ Drum. So you ain't gotta play my stuff. I'm gonna be that you know what. And
look at her now.
One season of Love and Hip Hop, and wow, she is filthy rich.
Cardi B.
Certified platinum albums. But this lady is married and she's pregnant. She says she's still married because Offset wants her house and for her to pay his tax debt.
Yeah.
Still don't need to get pregnant because of that. The actual factual Kim Smith, Cardi B, still married.
Yeah, so Cardi made it very clear that she was sick and tired of you people dogging her out about her being pregnant. Cardi B made a very valid point. She filed for divorce in July of 2024. It shouldn't have been contested. Both of them have their own money. But come to find out, the reason that he will not sign the divorce papers is because he wants her to pay his back taxes. He wants a property that she owns, and he wants to be paid not actually like alimony, but he wants a certain amount of money from her. Mm-hmm. And I think that's tacky. I do. I personally think that when you have two stars like this, when you have people with their own money on each side, I don't understand why he would be holding up the divorce because of something like this. And then now it makes more sense when he was on Spaces dogging her out, saying she couldn't cook and all of this. And like, she's literally in tears, hyperventilating, crying. But you find out it's because he's basically like holding her hostage. Like, she literally had a whole meltdown on Twitter Spaces, and everybody was like, oh my God, where did that come from? But then you hear stuff like this, and it's like, she's like, I just want to be free. And everybody's like, what are you talking about? Now we get it.
All right. Well,
sign the papers.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Do what you do.
No, sign the papers.
You got to do what women do it all the time.
Well, that's the whole thing. Okay. If he wants to do that, then Cardi, sign him up for child support. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Trade for trade. Yeah. So like, hey, like either you gonna help me with these kids and you can have, whatever, or, give me the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason, I feel like Cardi B and Offset might get back together.
Oh, no.
This next story kind of makes me feel like, hey, is this a break baby that Cardi B has got going on here?
Yeah. So no, I think their situation is different when it comes to the break baby because she had already filed for divorce. He has already moved on, of course. Of course, now we know she has really moved on because her and Stefan Diggs have a child that they're expecting together. So it's a solid no for me. I don't think Offset being a man, because most men cannot do this. This is really for women. Because no man is taking you back after you have a baby with another man on him.
Okay.
But that is more for women.
Okay.
Women will take a man back after they have a baby with someone else if they were on a break.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kanye West with a Make America Great Again hat on has a new documentary out in whose name it released one day in the past week or so. The actual factual Kill Swift have you seen it? Will you see it? Are you excited?
It's going to be a no from me.
Okay. Okay, all right, no dead air. So, Marvin Gaye biopic is supposed to be coming out, produced by Dr. Dre. Is underway. I am excited about this. You hear so many stories about Marvin Gaye and his
life
outside of the studio,
his
and
life,
off the concert stage.
Yes.
So I think that this biopic is in good hands with Dr. Dre. First of all, but this documentary something that you would be excited about?
Oh, I cannot wait! Like I will be at the theaters for this one, and then I want to know everything. Like I want to know if they're really going to talk about like why the dad. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I want to know if they're going to get to the nitty gritty. Like if we're going to do this about Marvin Gaye, let's do. I wonder if his family behind him, because you know his family don't play about his estate. So like I don't want them to get started and then like 6 months or something y'all tell us that his family got a problem with me. Y'all got to pull it. So make sure y'all get the proper documentation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Chicago, the NBA YoungBoy concert was canceled.
Yeah.
Did you have tickets, Kim?
So it was a hell no for me, but I mean, shout out to you people that were going. But so a older gentleman that was working security at one of the other stops was jumped, or well, I don't want to say jumped. He was beaten up by a, I guess, child, wasn't 18, because he was asked to move. And now stadiums and things don't feel comfortable with NBA YoungBoys kind of crowd kind of coming to their place of business. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the United Center canceled it.
And you know, if artists clean it up,
yeah, absolutely.
And also if people who are buying a ticket clean it up and not act up.
And go to the concert with your kids. Like, don't drop your 13, 14-year-old.
They can't control their kids.
Well, no, look, control your children, okay? Don't buy a 13, 14-year-old a ticket and then just drop them off at the door. Like, what the hell? You ain't got to sit with them, but you should be somewhere in the vicinity.
Yeah. And shout out to JB Pritzker, who signed a bill for mental health screenings in the school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right here in Illinois. Ian Chappelle called Illinois trash. But I will say that JB has kind of been a breath of fresh air.
Oh yeah, JB Pritzker don't play
in the past. And we thought, maybe JB for president. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. Per Kamala's book that just came out, 107 Days. Go grab it if you haven't. If you don't read, get it on Audible. I guess like JB Pritzker kind of like was dismissive towards her at first.
Oh.
I said, oh no, wait a minute.
Oh.
Hold on now, JB.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know. I gotta read the whole book, so I ain't passing judgment yet. But I'm just saying, if I get up in here and it's some issues, we might have a problem.
I definitely think that once you're done with the book, we need to do
Yeah, it's on my list.
We need to talk about it.
Yeah, it's on my list.
Colin Kaepernick, who has not played an NFL game for a long time, but has stayed relevant through his giving ways and his the action that he takes in stepping in. And in this case, he stepped in for what's the young man's name? Trey Reed.
Yeah.
To get a second autopsy after the trash state of Mississippi ruled his death a suicide.
Yeah. It's not much more on this rather than that they are doing a second independent autopsy. And I really do hope that justice is served. Again, like I said, we'll keep following this. We're praying for the family. Like you said last week, Black men don't lynch themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So shout out to Colin Kaepernick for stepping in and taking on this role for the family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So summertime shy is still rolling around here.
It is.
And we're almost in October, so I'm enjoying still being able to wear shorts. And
Yeah.
the Bears got their first victory last week
Shout out to the Bears.
over the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
I predicted a loss, and
All y'all predicted a loss.
Predicted a loss.
Literally everybody. They're gonna lose. They gonna win. They gonna lose the first 8 games.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn.
yeah, Cowboys offense is pretty good, and
Yeah.
their defense is pretty good. But hey, the Bears showed the Cowgirls right back in that trash state of Texas and came out
With Jerry watching.
came out with a win.
Shout out to the Bears.
So shout out to Back Body Mystery Podcast. They have me on this summer. You can check it out. Subscribe to their page on all social media platforms. Back Body Mystery. My twin cousins Kenneth and Diamond, who have been on the show with their wives for the Black Love, had me on this summer. Kim was still on vacation.
I was.
What up, cousin? So we are going to be back next Wednesday night with more in current events and the latest in entertainment for a Black culture perspective, unapologetic on all social media podcast platforms. And you make sure you go check us out on YouTube, because we are on YouTube and TikTok. And we didn't get a chance to talk about our post, but we're pressed for time. The producers are saying to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure that we hit on that next week. And thank you for commenting and sharing your thoughts and opinions. Whether
we
you sent
appreciate it
in the DM or if you commented publicly on the IG and Facebook pages. Thank you for your love and support. Ian Chappelle, Trash State of Georgia, we love you. Thank you. The Actual Factual, Kim Smith. Safe travels back to Carbondale. Everybody be safe. Go Bears. We out. Get the hell out of here. And I mean right now.